My name is Amartey Golding. I'm an artist and I like to work with materials that I have no experience in. So from wigs to music, filmmaking, chainmail, ballet. I haven't been trained in any of them. So I'm on a residency with Lighthouse at the moment, and I'm working on a podcast which is called Anthems, which is kind of like a survey of English people through music. And it's part of a bigger project, which is like the Anthem Collection, which will commission English singers and songwriters and any oral tradition really to create new anthems for England. I'm English, born and raised here, but I always felt not English. You know, it never felt like there was space for me as part of the English identity. The English flag made me feel uncomfortable. The national anthem made me feel uncomfortable and unwelcome. And so my mum's half Scottish, half English, half Scottish, and I always called myself Scottish when relating to that side of myself, even though I'd never been there, because I felt more welcome there somehow. Their national identity felt like it understood some of the dynamics that I was experiencing, and I didn't feel there was space for that in England, because England is the conqueror, right? Whereas Scotland, Ireland, Wales, they all have a part of their national identity that acknowledges this kind of colonial struggle. For me, it feels more democratic, at least more democratic than the other systems of governance or representation that we have. Because if something resonates with you, it grows, like musical wise. It's like everyone puts in a vote where they buy a CD or they go to a gig or something like that. And so people who probably have never voted before will be indirectly nominating voices of our time and of our country. I don't understand how one song can summarize a whole nation. And England's a small country as well. But even within that, to get one song that everyone feels, yeah, you know what, that's good for me, is almost impossible, or at least feels impossible at this point. So for me, it's about writing multiple or even infinite anthems. Why do the number of anthems have to stop? Why does it have to be finite? Why not have multiple for different seasons or feelings or moods of a country? You know, so if we're going through national mourning, there could be songs for that. If we're feeling really up ourselves, there could be songs for that. If we want to remember certain areas of our community, so maybe the working class, for example, or something, we could have songs for that, perhaps. And so that would be my approach to an anthem. And the idea of having one really does limit, and it adds conflict already, because there's only certain stories and ideas that can be fit into one song. The thing is with music, they have their own lives. As soon as you make them, they take on something. And so being able to know that even if one or two songs contribute to the kind of contemporary consciousness or are enjoyed by people, then I'm happy. You know, people don't have to use it in the way that we see. They just have to take on their own lives. But that's something that, for me, is actually really exciting. Just the variety of art forms of oral traditions basically in England, and how important they've been to sum up times and eras, you know. One of the ones that I really hope we can explore is like the old Cockney music, you know, where there was like, you know, kind of it was almost theatre and comedy, and, you know, I have a lovely bunch of coconuts, kind of, you know, and that was their way of overcoming so many of the problems in the country, because those Cockneys came from real working class conditions, even like proper squalor, you know, they were really struggling, and a lot of that music talks about a lot of struggle, but through comedy, which is a really interesting English thing, where we talk about hard things, but with a joke. And a lot of other people don't really like that, you know, because we talk about other people's pain through jokes, because we talk about our own pain through jokes as well. We don't have a lot of ways to process the brutal stuff that happens to us. And it's even more confusing because we ran the empire and everyone in the world speaks our language, and so there's this weird power play that we don't understand our own vulnerability, which is so interesting. But also all the Cockneys are dying out. No one's really a Cockney anymore, you know. Most of them got moved to Essex, and we know what happened there. and then, you know, all of these oral traditions are dying out. So being able to explore them in some more depth, especially the comedy side of things, you know, especially the folk music and all of these traditions that are fading away as well. Being able to shine some light on that for people who aren't exposed to really, you know, beautiful English musical traditions, I think it's going to be quite rewarding